What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose today 3-2 to the Tigers. They fall to 63-58 on the year. They're now 2.5 back of Houston, who swept Tampa, 3 back of Kansas City, and the wild card, who won today as well. Before I talk about this game, kudos if you want to hear about this game. If you do me a favor, I am 5 subs away from 4,000. You guys can hit that sub button if you're new or lurking. It'd be great to get that number tonight. Tough Mariners game, but I'd really appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Comment your thoughts on the game down below. I do ask that we keep it civil. I know it's a super frustrating game, but nobody in the comments that's rooting for this team. We all want the Mariners to win for the most part. We're on the same team here. If you want to yell at the Mariners, have at it. Be my guest. Rip them to shreds. No problem with that. We'll be kind and civil to each other because we're all on the same team here. We're just fans that want to watch this team win. And hit that like button. Thank you to everybody that's done that. It really does help out the video. I cannot thank you all enough for all the likes on the videos. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you to everybody that has done that. I should have been leading off this video talking about how great Brian Wu was. 7 shutout innings, and you don't get the win. Did I say the Mariners lost? Yeah, I think I said they lost already. If they didn't, they lost. Great professionalism on the intro there. What did I talk about during those Angels series? Remember when I laid out all the starts? I said Kirby, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, they lost. Logan, 7 shutout innings, they lost. Castillo, 6 shutout innings, they lost. Remember when I went through all that? Happened again tonight. Brian Wu, 7 shutout innings, and you lost. You can't have that happen. You cannot get that dominant of a pitching performance and lose the baseball game. It cannot happen. And you were 4 outs away from winning this, and you lost it with what you felt was pretty good arms, Jimmy Garcia and then Munoz coming up. Can't have it. Offense cannot allow to leave the bases loaded in that 8th inning without another run. Not even asking them to break it wide open, but there was no reason to only get 1 run in that situation, especially after you get the base hit with 2 outs. Just unacceptable all around. All the good vibes from that Mets series, gone. I say it all the time with this team, right? They undo it so quickly. Look at Houston. Houston goes on the road, gets a huge sweep in Boston. Easy to have a letdown series in Tampa. Not a lot of crowd there. A decent enough Rays team that can beat you. What does Houston do? Houston sweeps the Rays. It's kind of the difference, right? It's the difference between a team that has been to the pinnacle, been to the championships, and a team that hasn't, right? I mean, it is like the Mariners have done it before this year. They did that to the Philly series and the Tigers came into town. They swept that little mini series in San Diego. Then they go to Anaheim and lay an egg before the All-Star break. Too many times it has happened this year where this team looks like okay, we feel the vibes coming back. The vibes were great on Sunday night. It was a lot of fun. That was a fun game. It's gone. And you've lost 2.5 games in the division since then. That was just a couple nights ago. And it's all gone. I mean, fun win. Not going to say it wasn't enjoyable. But you don't have anything left from that. You've just undone it in 2 days. Yesterday's games, they happened. Doesn't make it acceptable. Still unacceptable loss. I was willing to kind of say, listen, Scooble's good. You just, everything put in play against Kirby was a hit. Move on. Hopefully you find a way to win the series, and I'll be okay. All I ask for is to win series. That's all I ask for. Well, that's not going to happen now, right? Now you're just praying to avoid a sweep. I don't know if I mentioned it, but 1-10 against the Angels and Tigers in your last 11 games. That's not acceptable. Detroit's better. They're better than they've been, certainly. They're not the pushover that we've seen the last couple years, for sure. I don't think the Angels are White Sox level bad, but those are still 2 teams that at best are mediocre. And to go 1-10 is not acceptable. You can't get in the playoffs doing it. Even if you were to go 4-7 in that stretch, I would say that's bad. If you came to me and said, Jay, the Mariners went 4-7, let's say they played the Angels, Tigers, Angels, or something, in that order, 11 games, and they went 4-7. I would say that's not good. Not good. I would kill for that right now. If you did that, you'd probably be in first place. I mean, I know Houston's got games they could look back on too. I don't like playing that game because if we're going to look at every annoying loss the Mariners had and every frustrating thing they've done, Houston can do the same thing. I'm just making a point, though, that you've got to find a way to beat these teams. And I'm not one to usually be, championship teams win these type of games. It's not that. It's just that these are teams that aren't great and you're getting destroyed by them. They're steamrolling you. They're not even like struggles. They've just dialed it in against you. I like I said, offense bad. The only people today that I think don't deserve any criticisms are Brian Wu, and Munoz was really good in the ninth. Munoz was outstanding. Let's get into the game a little bit. So, like I said, Brian Wu, absolutely fantastic, dominant, 7 shuttings. Let me pull up the box score real quick here. I didn't even want to bring it up, but let's dive into it a little bit here. If we must, we must. Yeah, 7 innings. Sorry, 7 innings, 4 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Absolute wasted effort for Brian Wu, or the team wasted his effort, I should say, which is pathetic. Just makes it that probably makes me more sick than anything, is that you got that start from Brian Wu and you lost. Now, let's get into the bullpen a little bit. I know there will be, and I'm going to criticize Scott. I don't think Scott had a very good night tonight. I did not have a problem taking Brian Wu out. They've been very careful with the pitch counts and everything. Also, Garcia and Munoz is pretty locked down. I just can't be too mad about handing the ball over to those guys. Now, here's why I will be critical of Scott. Also, critical of Jimmy Garcia. That pitch to Kerry Carpenter was atrocious. It was just an awful pitch. You can't throw the pitch there. Kerry Carpenter mashes right-handed pitching. I just put him on. Who was behind Carpenter? Cole Keith? I'd much rather take my chances with him. And you might say, well, Jay, what if Keith, you don't walk the tying run? That's the old adage, right? You never put the tying run on base. But is that really a thing, or is that just like an old wives' tale for baseball? Because if they would have put him on, they might have won the game. Well, what if Cole Keith goes yard? Cool. Then you lose 3-2. Oh, gee, guess what? The Mariners lost 3-2. So who cares then, I guess? I mean, if it ends up being, if I'm on deck for the Tigers and I hit a 3-run home run, tip your cap. It'd be super annoying, but you tip your cap that Jay went deep. Let's go. Me 3-run home run. Take that, Mariners. But, I'd rather take my chances. I mean, you've been hurt here in these situations before by these type of guys. They've done it to you before. Kerry Carpenter has owned the Mariners. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily why I walk him there. I mean, if the worst hitter ever owned you, I wouldn't be like, we got to put him on. You would assume it would end up playing out where you get that guy out. But Carpenter's a good hitter, and he hits right-handed pitching very well. And Garcia threw a terrible pitch. That factors in there as well. So I didn't have a problem going to Garcia. I didn't. Garcia and Munoz, you feel pretty good that you're going to hold on to a 2-run lead. Didn't have a huge problem with that. I fought it more in Los Angeles. One, remember that game where Gilbert came out. One, because Logan Gilbert has been a workhorse and has, shown he can stay healthier than Brian Wu, number one. And number two, at the time, you had Stanek, Voth. You weren't quite as solid on the back end. Now you're a lot better. So I don't so much mind that decision, but I think you should have walked Carpenter. Easy to say in hindsight. Mariners also should have scored more runs, right? That 8th inning. Let's talk about that. And then Munoz was great in the 9th. Snyder, I don't know how to evaluate it. Akil Baddoo, who, whatever, got to hit off. The Mariners were losing that game after not scoring in the 10th. So whatever. Let's talk about the 8th inning. Although the 10th inning was frustrating because you get McKinstry to pop up the bunt. So you've got everything in order to actually get out of that inning. I shouldn't just dismiss that. That was super frustrating. But I was just so done at that point that whatever. Top of the 8th, Mariners load the bases up. Julio, who looks like he's hurt, and by the way, I think it's pretty clear now they rushed Julio back. I mean, he's not running anywhere close. I mean, what is it? I mean, he's got to look like he's running 55%. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong on that. That might even be generous. He can't go first to third or anything like that. I mean, and listen, that's big for Julio because one of his huge strengths is he's really good on the base pass. So Julio is a DH. Like, I get it. You haven't gotten great production from the DH. I don't mind trying to get his bat in the lineup, especially with how well he was swinging it before he got hurt. But it does hurt some of Julio's value because a lot of his value is defense and base running. You're getting 0 from that. I mean, you might be getting more base running value out of Mitch Garver right now, for Pete's sake. I mean, and then on a pitch he takes, it looks like he tweaks his ankle, loops a base hit in there. Gutsy at bat from Julio. I'll give him that. Got the hit, gave the Mariners a 2-0 lead, which at the time kind of looked like it might just be enough. And I'll talk about Julio in a second. Then Luke Raley has an atrocious at-bat where he probably would have walked had he just not swung the bat. I know it's easier said than done, but that would have been huge, right? You make it 3-0, and then Haniger hits that fly out to right field. That might have been 4. That might have been a sac fly, and you probably win the game. Now, who knows how Haniger would have been pitched? You never know how things would have played out, but I thought that Raley at-bat was really, really bad in the 8th inning. An underrated bad moment in this game. Julio had to come out for a pinch runner. Obviously, he couldn't do it. And I think, I know a lot of people talking about looked like they rushed Julio back, and I would concur. He does not look ready to go. And now if he's got to miss more time, you've really screwed yourself because you rush somebody back. And let's say that injury is, and maybe it's nothing. Maybe he's fine. I don't know. We'll see. Let me see if there's anything on Twitter about it. Let me see. Let's check from the beat writers. Julio is likely okay. Thinks he felt the scar tissue in his ankle scared him a little bit. Doesn't think it's anything serious. Yeah, I mean, that's good news, obviously. But listen, Julio is clearly not 100%. Even if he's okay, he's not 100%. And you are running a big risk here, right? If Julio gets hurt again, instead of just saying, hey, we're going to sit you out 10 more games, now you could be out for the rest of the season. So we'll see. We'll see how it ends up playing out. But that was frustrating. I thought Scott, like I said, I've recorded this video twice now, so I apologize. I thought Scott had a bit of a rough night. I didn't have a problem with the Wu Garcia decision. I didn't. You can disagree. That's fine. I think it is debatable. I want to be clear on that. When I say something, it's not trying to be definitive like, oh, you're stupid if you think he should have left Wu in. I think it's a valid point. I think you could certainly make a strong case for it. I'm just not going to be too upset for going to 2 really good relievers to try and get you through that. Didn't have a problem with that. Here's a couple things I did have a problem with, though. Talk about the Kerry Carpenter walk. I think you should have put him on. The challenges. You throw that challenge. Oh, the challenge flag. I'm ready for football, apparently. You challenge that Robles call in the 3rd inning, which I get was close. It was close. But there was no evidence to overturn that. You could see on replay. There's no way this is getting overturned. Now, I think he'd been called safe. I don't think it would have been overturned either. Probably more likely, but he was out. In the 8th inning, 9th inning, I get that challenge. I do. That's a big base runner. I'm not saying even in the 3rd it's not a big base runner, but look later in the game. Cal Raleigh steals 2nd, looks safe as day. Umps have to be better. Shame on the umps for getting that wrong. Challenge that, maybe get a 2-out knock, you get another run. I don't know. There was a play. It didn't end up not mattering where Bly Madris was out at first and he was called safe. Maybe it made Wu throw a few more pitches. Maybe that, right? Maybe if Madris is out, Wu's at 75, 78 pitches, he can go out there for the 8th. I don't know where he was at in pitch count that inning. But it's all little things that do add up and do matter. Just because it maybe didn't cost him in that moment doesn't mean it didn't impact you down the road a little bit. Listen, you guys all know where I'm at with Scott, Jerry, and Justin. If you don't, if you're new here, I've made it very clear. If you don't get in the playoffs, I think changes need to be made. I'm at that point. I've defended Scott, but the results, if they're not in, the results aren't there. They're not. Same with Jerry and Justin. Do I trust John Stanton? No. But you can't just not make moves either because it could be worse. That's something you can't do as an organization either. I've said it, I'll say it, reiterate it. I'm at the results-based analysis time. I need results. I thought they had a good trade deadline. I did. I still stand by that. I think they had a real nice deadline. Love Rosarina. I think he's going to be a big impact player here for a few years. I think Turner's a solid veteran bat that can help you down the stretch in a season like this. Jimmy Garcia is a good pitcher. I think Chargois was a sneaky, solid addition. Doesn't matter if there's no results, though. I can like the moves, but still go, yeah, but they didn't get it done. It's even some of the offseason stuff. I didn't mind their offseason. I thought it could have been a little bit better, but it was fine. I thought they made some good additions. But they're not really working. Polanco swung the bat better recently, but overall, it hasn't moved the needle on this team. I've watched a lot of Mariners baseball, a ton of it. I mean, more than I can even wish that I have watched. There have been way worse Mariners baseball teams than this. This is not even close to this probably isn't even, I've pretty much watched almost every game probably since 95. So that is how many seasons? This is 20, let's say 30 seasons. This wouldn't even be This could even honestly be top 5 that I've watched since then in terms of teams. But I don't think there's been a more frustrating one. I don't think I've been more annoyed with the Mariners team than look at it. Like my beard's getting gray. There's gray. That wasn't there at the start of the season, folks. That was not there. This team is doing it. They've had some rough years. We have watched some bad baseball, but I was checked out by August. This game would have been the most like whatever, I'd always root for my team to win. It's more fun to watch your team win a game, but it would have been the most whatever nothing burger of all time. But now it hurts. Now they're in these races and it hurts a lot more. And like I said, I don't think I've seen a more frustrating Mariners team. And guys, it's going to get tougher. Houston's about to go home and play the White Sox. You are facing the Tigers tomorrow, which is your kryptonite, and then you face Paul Skeens. Not crazy that you're 4 games back after Friday. And hopefully not, right? I hope I'm not, it's not a prediction. I'm not saying, oh, they're going to lose. I don't do that. Like, baseball's weird. They could win tomorrow and beat Paul Skeens. Crazier things have happened. But, I mean, the odds would probably favor it going the other way. And Houston's probably sweeping Chicago. You could really start to fall back here. And you're already 2.5 back now. We'll keep tabs on the wild card as well, but Kansas City's 3 up on you, and you got to pass Boston and Kansas City for that wild card. Frustrating all around. Very, very disappointing effort from the team. And that's, going back to Scott real quick, I want to be clear too. Like, some of the in-game stuff I'm more forgiving on. Because, and listen, I'm just trying to be fair. I do think it's tough. You know why I'm not ripping him too much for Woo? I would have struggled with that decision too. If you put me in the dugout, I mean, obviously none of the players would respect me at all, having never played baseball. But it would have been a tough one for me. And I would have felt pretty comfortable going to Jimmy Garcia there. But I think overall, even the challenge stuff, whatever. I mean, I love Pete Carroll, and that dude throws so many random stupid challenge flags over his tenure in Seattle. The issue is the effort. The issue is that this team comes out flat after the Mets series. They don't keep it going. We talked about what the Astros have done. You can hate them, love them, whatever, but they've kept it going. This team has not done it. Where was the adjustments to Brian Salmons? Now, maybe they did, and they just didn't execute. The players deserve blame, too, and be very clear on this. This is not just a Scott issue. The players own some of this, too. And there's not going to be any changes at this point in the year, so it's kind of a pointless conversation. But the team just coming out flat. To me, that probably goes more on coaching, the in-game stuff. But this team is flat. They win that series, and then it's like just cakewalking through this. Find a way to win tomorrow. Hopefully they do. I'm frustrated. I'm going to go fire up some college football 25 and get frustrated as I lose games to the computer there. So that sounds like a fun night. Have a good one, everybody. Me and Mariner Sir will be on tomorrow. We'll do a series recap. It'll be later tomorrow night. I won't be able to watch the game, thank goodness. If you dare to watch it, go for it. I support you and I feel for you. Remember to hit that like button. Please subscribe, 5 subs away. And don't forget to comment. Like I said, just keep it civil. We're all on the same team here, right? Like, we all want this team to win. Yell at the Mariners. Yell at them. They can take it. Love y'all. Have a good night. As always, go Mariners. Peace.